You can roll cameras at Vikings.com right now. 3-2 and base. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, joins us weekly for X's and O's. 9 to noon is fortunate enough to be able to start that on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock or 11-ish. And here's the head coach now. Lambeau is next in line. Do you have a favorite road stadium, or are they all the same because you're just so laser focused on the task?
No, I think there's some different ones. I do appreciate the history of Lambeau Field, and we've had some success there. So hopefully we can have a good week and go replicate what I believe has happened the last 2 times we went there.
When's the last time, Kevin O'Connell, you coach of the Vikings, attended or watched a football game as a fan?
I would probably have to say
Caden?
Absolutely, Caden's games.
Yeah,
but
I was hoping you wouldn't go right to the kid card, so I brought it up just to.
No, I think I went to a San Diego State game during the bye week when I was coaching with the Rams. I think I might have, and they were playing at the I don't remember the year, but they were playing at the soccer stadium that the Chargers used to play at before they moved to SoFi. So It might have been, I don't know what it was.
Did you paint your face black and what did it be, black and red?
Black and red.
Black and red.
I did not.
And Aztecs, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So did you go full garb?
No. Caden wanted to go. He was
full garb.
Just getting into football at the time, and he wanted to go, so I took him down there.
We have a talk back for you each and every week, and we're going to play that Tuesday talk back right now for the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings and move on from there. So 3-2.
Hey, Coach and PA. Here's my question. On social media, everyone overreacts to every play, good or bad, from our young quarterback. As a Vikings fan watching on TV, not with the All-22, just as we watch the game, what is something we should look for to see progress from our quarterback versus the overreaction of social media?
Ooh, thanks, brother. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a great question because I think in this coming up on his 6th start now, I think we're all just looking for continued evidence of the growth that he can take some of the things he's working very hard on the practice field to make as the phrase I've been using with him, we got to start seeing this cement dry on some of the things that we've really worked hard to make football habits for him from a fundamentals and technique standpoint. I think something Vikings fans can look for is, when he gets to the top of his drops, we're really trying to see if we can get him to be a little bit more in a repeatable body position. And what I mean by that is the posture of, a firm but athletic kind of lower half. We don't really like when his feet get too far outside the framework of his body. And that happened a couple times the other day that contributed to maybe some of the accuracy. His feet got a little bit wide. His base got really wide. The other thing to really look for is when he looks decisive and kind of in the ground, compact, where he's not taking up a lot of space with his movements as he kind of goes from 1A to 1B or 1 to 2 before finding his checkdowns. When he's done it consistently, well, it's normally tied to it's got a look to it of firmness, but yet not tight and not rigid, and it kind of has a fluidity to it where he's then able to activate the arm talent from a standpoint of taking out a lot of variables. And I've talked to JJ a lot of the movement and a lot of the lack of stability to his lower half adds to a lot of variables to the play where you're trying to make this thing right with the ball leaving your fingertips. But, I would equate it to swinging a golf club, and sometimes you swing it with your left foot on the ground, sometimes you don't, sometimes you widen your stance really. You're never going to hit that golf ball the same way. And playing quarterback is about the variables that you can control. You've got to try to make it the same and repeatable every single time, because the difference between golf and any other sport is these guys are trying to rush 1,000 miles an hour and rip your face off. Yeah. And you've got to stand in there and make some throws, sometimes take some hits, but all of the things before those scenarios start to take place throughout the rhythm of a play where we don't know what defense they're in always, and we don't know exactly where the completion's going to be. So you've got to control what you can control by doing your fundamentals and techniques repeatable the same way, and take out some of those variables that are making his job harder than it has to be when we lose some of that focus throughout games.
I'd like to play a game called Coach's Choice. You select the topic, and here are the categories. You okay?
Sure.
Here we go. Your categories are the long play, full throttle feel, the other kid, cash money, and getting the edge. Which one would you like, Coach O'Connell?
Let's start backwards. Let's go getting the edge.
Getting the edge. Packers linebacker Edgerrin Cooper is who you get this weekend. He had some part-time to him last year, and this year has started all 10 for them. Edgerrin Cooper, I know you were a fan last year, probably still are this year. Has his role changed much with Micah Parsons in the mix?
I don't know if it's changed much, but you're just seeing him. You're seeing him on the field more on all downs, all three downs, first, second, third down. He's a very, very athletic run and hit linebacker that seems to be getting better and better with the more snaps he gets. And I think with Eric Wilson came here, and E. Will was kind of a foundational piece, kind of filling in some different spots, but then ended up getting a lot of playing time just because of his consistency and doing his job within that defense last year. But I think edge is kind of you really look at it and you see Cooper being a guy that you're seeing more trust put into him, you're seeing more playmaking, and he's just being on the field more is allowing him to gain some experience at a pretty rapid pace, and he's starting to become a really, really good player. But I've always been a fan of his, even going back to the draft.
Full throttle feel, the other kid, cash money, or the long play?
Cash money.
Cash money. Here we go. Blake Cashman, as he's been a tackling machine of late. How Blake Cashman, other than 15 tackles in a game or whatever, where does he most help your defense?
Well, he calls it. I mean, he's the green dot. He's the communication. When Cash is in there, we have far less snaps where there's any sort of chaotic feel. And Harrison Smith has a lot to do with that, too. He's playing a lot more snaps, probably played his most snaps of the season last week. So the combination of Cash as the green dot, calling the defense in from flow, and then Harrison and Cash working in conjunction with kind of our check defense we run. We're just getting more snaps where we get all 11 guys on the same page doing their jobs. And
you're talking about snaps, and you also mentioned Eric Wilson. I'm probably going to get this number wrong, but 1, 2, or 5. Did he play? Did he play 83 snaps last game, including special teams?
He played a lot of snaps.
Was it a 69 and 14?
He's been so impactful for us. I actually just walking down the hall. He was heading into, we have some massage therapists here on Tuesdays for our guys, and he was heading in for his massage, and I said, you know what, I'll take care of this one, and then why don't you get yourself another one right after, because, he played.
They better bring a sledgehammer for the arms.
Yeah.
Oh, have your arms ever looked like that?
Are you kidding me?
Well, I haven't felt my ribs in 30 years. I have a right to ask that question.
Yeah, no, he is, I mean, as much of a physical specimen as I've seen. But he's been phenomenal for us. I mean, you think about kind of the Cashman injury, you think about some of the things we've had to work through with Gink's time out, and now that we're getting kind of the healthiest version of this team, it feels like right now, coming back together. Hopefully, JG can work through it this week and find some snaps for us this weekend. But E. Will has kind of been a glue guy that's held it all together. And when he's been doing that, he's been playing football at a really high level. But he's also a very, very good special teams player.
Right.
So you always want to make sure you're not taking him totally off that phase. But we also need to be smart and not overdo it with E. Will here the rest of the way.
And not to turn this completely into your male or female body type leader, but Aaron Donald, like what was he built like? What was like,
similar?
Really, he was cut.
Yeah,
so he was big, fast, and cut.
Oh yeah, no, he was a D lineman that had a 12-pack and
Wow.
25-inch arms, and he just thank goodness he was Aaron Donald, such a nice person off the field, because if he wasn't, it would have made for different circumstances working in L.A. every day.
Well, you mentioned Andrew Van Ginkel, so Coach's Choice is going to take us to Full Throttle Feel. And okay, you mentioned Grenard, could be practicing this week. Hopefully you get him up for the game. Ryan Kelly's practice window opened last week. Who knows? Maybe Ryan plays. Yep. But nevertheless, that could be a full throttle feel for our Minnesota Vikings. But the direction I was taking off this was with Aaron Jones, Andrew Van Ginkel, and say 2, 3, 4 games after missing a month and change. And here's the point. When players return from, say, a month, 5 weeks away, does it still take time for them to be fully up to speed, even though they're playing? And the reason I ask is because watching it back with Van Ginkel, it just seemed like something in the second half. Oh, wow, hey, 2024 just broke out. It just seems like he's kind of completely back.
Yeah, I think it's, especially veteran players like you're talking about, those guys normally don't need a ton of runway coming back, but the game is fast. It's, it's a very physical game, and what ends up happening is I think veteran players know know exactly where they're at from a physical standpoint. They know where to hit, push the gas pedal down and go. They know when they've got to, make sure they're out there for their team, but maybe I'm not all the way there yet, and I know I'll be able to work through that early on here. And I think we've seen that with Aaron over the past couple weeks, and now Aaron feels like he's really starting to kind of come around and have those game legs underneath him again. And I think with Gink, it's just mentally, he's always going to be so sharp. He's always going to be where he's supposed to be. But the playmaking ability seems to be really coming on. And I saw the same thing you did there in the second half, and just some of the rush moves and some of the ways he was kind of putting it all together.
When he ran down Caleb.
Yeah, just can't wait to keep seeing, his impact on what we do. And, you mentioned it. Would love to get Grenard back as well.
Mm-hmm. Kevin O'Connell, X's and O's per 9 to noon, FM 100.3, KFAN. The final two in Coach's Choice, the long play or the other kid?
The other kid.
The other kid is Dallas Turner. All right, he's the other kid. He's 22 years of age, like J.J. McCarthy. Nobody ever talks about Dallas Turner's footwork, balance, technique, eyes, the whole what are the keys to his development? Forget that he was a first-round pick. Forget what he did at Alabama. It's people are so quarterback-focused, and I understand why. It's a very important spot, probably the most important in all sports, maybe this side of a goalie.
No doubt.
In hockey. But nevertheless, let's not forget, Dallas has a right, to Dallas Turner at age 22. What are you looking for from him moving forward?
Well, I think you've seen some real flashes of, pass rush, his explosiveness. I think the every down consistency, you earn those ops to rush the quarterback by the job you do on the early downs, the physicality, setting edges, playing your role as an edge player in our defense is very important to stopping the run. And then I think from a pass rush standpoint, the NFL is not just about your go-to move every time. It's about having that go-to move as a rusher, whether it's speed to bull, whether it's a long arm, whether it's a club and rip, whatever it is that those guys, and they've got every name and move known to man, but you got to figure out what your fastball is. And much like, when a relief pitcher in Major League Baseball wants to transition to become a starter, you can't just throw 2 pitches. You need to have the fastball, and then you need to have your counters off of that when you're playing Lane Johnson or you're playing some of these high-end tackles.
Penei Sewell.
Like they're repping all week to rep your counter moves because they're that confident in stopping the initial rush. And you've got to be able to pair it together with limited thinking and playing fast and explosive because that's what Dallas Turner is, and he's got it all in his body. It's just putting it all together from a standpoint of a rush plan, the discipline of maybe some game plans like a Lamar Jackson game plan or even Caleb Williams last week where you cannot just rush just with your hair on fire and leave open exit strategies for these quarterbacks because they are so harmful to getting them off the field on third down. They're so, trying to limit the chunk plays when you're not only having to defend the initial play, but then the off-schedule play, which is in many cases even more dangerous. So there's times in games where you got to kind of put the governor on a little bit and still find a way to get the rush and have the effect on the quarterback. All of those things are part of the NFL game that I don't necessarily always think these young guys are thinking about at the college level when they're just kicking butt, beating the guy across from them every single snap with their go-to move. It just that as things ramp up and the best in the world take the field at what they do in the National Football League, there's constant chase of improvement, and Dallas Turner keeps doing that. He's doing a great job and growing every single opportunity he gets out there.
Coach's Choice has us down to one category, so there's only one choice here. It's called the long play. Working with a 22-year-old quarterback where with most, over the course of time, it takes time and refinement and patience. So I'm going to begin here first. Do you believe raising a young quarterback takes time, or given your success with quarterbacks here, really everywhere, but here as head coach, do you feel what you see in practice right now, into start 6, absolutely should occur in every game and right now?
I think that's the difference between a young quarterback playing in our offense and guys that have had experience in other offenses, either success or not as much success. And we've had different variations of that here over my time here. The difference is a young player experiencing the actual NFL game for the first time, and what does that do to your habits that you're trying to have that concrete dry, so that it's not, they're non-negotiables.
Yep.
They're not, it doesn't work to do it, in ways that aren't the ways you're getting coached to do it, or you've had success doing, where the proof is in the work that you've put in on the practice field. It's just a matter of applying those things with discipline every single snap, and then you start hitting Jordan Addison on a pylon route early in the game on the first drive, where it's as good of a look as we'll have, and he knows that, and he's trying to throw the ball there, but fundamentally, he's tying a hand behind his back at times with giving himself an opportunity to be as accurate as he can be by some of those things. And those are the things that when I call those plays, the expectation is, as a confident play caller and the guys you have on the grass, you're going to get the baseline level of execution, technique, fundamentals.
Yep.
And if you're calling the right play at the right time, you expect to see a couple of those things, ring up on the board here as big gains, explosives, maybe even points. And when they don't, it can alter the way you attempt to attack the defense the rest of the day, because now in the back of your mind as the play caller, or even as the quarterback, I need the quarterback thinking, hey, here's the play call, here's my job, trust in what we're doing, and pull the trigger and be accurate like we know that you can be. But it's got to start with those. You can't be thinking about your fundamentals and techniques in those moments. And if you are, that's going to be pulling away from your ability to play fast and be aggressive with your arm, because it's going to slow everything down in the process, PA. So we've got to continue to try to make that habit and let the concrete dry, as I say.
And kind of like you said in your press conference yesterday, paraphrasing a little bit, is that he's making things difficult on himself at times with the simple things.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of the way you put
that's
it?
Exactly, and that's I view those habits of the quarterback position, once we've established the way to do things and the right way to do things, I view those as simple, because the defense has no effect on that aspect of doing your job. The hard part is the late in the post-snap world of playing quarterback, where coverages and disguises and blitzes and things that they can control to make things much, much more difficult than just breaking the huddle, knowing what to do, and starting there. And when JJ's done that, whether it's in the Detroit game, different plays last Sunday, the Baltimore game, there is visual evidence of it. And to our talkback question, those get probably viewed and observed, and then we're right back to as the variables and the variants of his play go, so do more than likely the fan reaction, and that is all valid and it's all an accurate thing, because people want to see J.J. McCarthy throw and catch and do it at a high level, and they've got high expectations for not only him but me and our whole entire organization, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But we've got to be doing things with the right principles and the purposes of elevating a young player and starting to see him really see the fruits of all the work he puts in. And that's really our whole team, is right alongside JJ doing that.
Well, as simplistic as I'm about to make this sound, I mean, when it comes to if it were a preference here, like you could only have one, well, that would be impossible because this is so new to him. But here's what I'm saying is fourth quarter at Chicago Soldier Field, 7 of 10, 2 touchdown passes, runs in the game winner. All right. And then Detroit, big moments in that game, handled the pressure pretty well. A little wonky, a little up and down in the most recent one. The one that ended up mattering the most, holy cow, we're going to win the game. So what I'm getting at here is inherently, God gives the clutch gene or the ability to not freak out when it's as hot can be. Conversely, on the other side, there are things that clearly, need to be refined and simplified and or worked on and honed, but you can't teach the other one.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
You can search long and
it's not an either or. You got to have both.
You can search long and far and try to find the guy that has that end of game clutch gene.
And he doesn't freak out.
No, but what I think his superpower needs to be is applying that to a 2nd and 5 in the middle of the second quarter. Applying that level of focus and unwilling to be denied and then need to go. The type of day wonky is an accurate portrayal of the day, but we went 85 yards and took the lead.
Yeah.
We didn't keep the lead, and that's a different conversation, altogether. But no matter what it was like, we took the lead. No matter what the first Chicago game was in his first, and that's not to say that everything else that took place before that's okay. Mm-hmm. I tend to look at it like let's bring that end of game focus and rhythm and determination. And there are a lot of the snaps that I would pull to show you right now of what it should look like came on that drive.
Wow.
Let's see it in the first, second, third quarter, because what would the game be like for you if you are able to do that? And that's start number 6. That's what we'll be looking for, to continue to see more and more evidence of it, because when we see the evidence of it, we're also it's going to be tied to the offense moving the football and scoring points. That's what that position does. Not only in our offense, but in all 32 offenses in the National Football League.
I'm racetrack raised.
Yep.
So, therefore, and you're not smiling, which is good. I'm going to try to make you smile. There's an old adage in the world of horse racing, I don't care how I got to the winner's circle, as long as I got to the winner's circle and we're getting our picture taken. That's the jockey with the hand on the neck.
I've been down there before.
Come on. The cartoon character's trying to make people laugh here. Thank you. Just 2 left. Kevin O'Connell, X's and O's. Last game, the first time J.J. McCarthy didn't run in a game. Are you a proponent of your quarterback running, or is fine-tuning the pocket game first and foremost with what you desire?
No, I think I think it all goes back to the starting point of what his job. If it's a pass play and he can exhaust the progression and there's not a lot there for him, and he works within the rhythm of the play and takes off and steals us a first down. He's done that multiple times this year. Mm-hmm. That's a huge bonus. Now, when he does that happens to coincide with both instances where it's caused him to miss 24 odd games or so. So we have to be smart about the decision making late in those downs. Once you've done the work, you've gotten the yardage, we've got a new set of downs. Protect yourself, and it doesn't always have to be diving head first on that right shoulder of yours either. Like there's the competitive side, and then there's the NFL quarterback, play for a really long time with being that competitor side, and those are all things we talk about a lot, and we're trying to kind of mesh together. But I do think there's an element to circumstantial, and there were some opportunities that the way the Bears were playing the other day. I know a lot of folks want more runs on some of those 3rd and 2 to 3s, and they had 7 players on the line of scrimmage. We got 6 to block them, unless you're going to magically
I get it.
Unless you're going to magically create another player or ask Justin Jefferson to go down there and block one of those guys.
Kevin Byard the third.
Then the only way to equalize those numbers out is to run your quarterback, which many teams in this league do, week in and week out. And I think there's times for that. But you also don't want to make a living doing that when you're trying to continue to see this quarterback grow by playing the position. But there's a time and a place for it for sure. I'm not against it.
But there's running responsibly too. So I was so excited for that Bears game, man. I got up at 4:55 in the morning. And so I start watching the Bears and the Giants to memorize some Bears defensive numbers, just the nickel, the whole thing. So I'm watching Jackson Dart on some of these designed runs. And I'm like, wow, holy cow, he's a violent runner. Some stuff was working, but he's going to take everybody on. Well, then he gets a concussion for the fourth time this year, and he's out.
Yep.
So I'm thinking to myself, wow, McCarthy, he could do a lot of this too. But then I'm wondering, you would have to do it more responsibly, be more cognizant of sliding or getting out of bounds, as opposed to the other kid who's super gifted. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Running responsibly.
And the NFL hash marks are you can do the math on how much further they are from the sideline. So
good point.
This old metric of just run the ball and get to the sideline.
Yeah.
They got guys over there too, and they're very much well aware of where that sideline is and the angle to take to meet you well before you get to that sideline.
Yeah.
So I was very familiar with that Giants Bears film. Watched it a few times, obviously, and some of those hits. You're gaining yards and all those things,
and they're not all built like Lamar.
No,
like ask Kyler. I mean, early in Kyler Murray's career, he has like 10 rushing touchdowns or something, but then it was one too many. Took the wrong kind of hit. Was like not 10 rushing touchdowns, but he missed like 10 games because of the way he was running and the hits he was taking being slide of frame.
There's just not that many examples of guys, having a very long, sustained career playing where that style is the style that's, even everybody talks about Lamar. Lamar has become a phenomenal pocket passer. Great rhythm, base, makes great decisions. He's accurate, throws in rhythm. Those plays where he ends up impacting the game, you can watch. They played against the Brian Flores defense 2 weeks ago, and the Lamar designed runs or reading variations of runs didn't come until the fourth quarter when they needed those.
Right.
The call sheet had been exhausted, and they needed those to secure some final first downs there to not let us have a chance to try to win that football game late. But it was not part of the early down menu early in that game.
Right.
He's too important to their team. And
brilliant.
And I think people understand that.
You ever take off on a successful read option at SDSU, maybe against Cal Poly Pomona or something?
I did. I was actually in 4-minute one time, and we ran kind of a Statue of Liberty version of the play. I got the first down, should have went down.
Wow.
I kept trying to strain for some more yards. Punch out, ball out. New Mexico takes the ball and beats us on the last play of the game.
So you didn't give your best when your best was required.
I was not a situational master in the moment.
Low red, high red. Last one, I promise. Justin Jefferson's work on Jordan Mason's touchdown was perfection. He blocked their leading tackler, Kevin Byard III, so tenaciously he knocked the Roman numeral right off the back of his jersey. When the top identity-related player on your team works hard like that, does it make it easier to show others what needs to be done to win at the highest level?
Well, you don't need to show anybody in this building because they see it every day. They see it. But I do think it's a good thing for anybody out there, football players or not, or just fans, to understand. You see the competitor in Justin when he's open on a third down, and we don't pitch and catch to the level that he's become accustomed to, or he's frustrated that we're not winning a game. This guy is one of the greatest competitors I've ever been around. And that can come out sometimes, but that doesn't mean he's showing up anybody or his frustrations are boiling over to the point where, Justin is one of the greatest competitors I've ever been around. He's a phenomenal teammate. But if you ever have any question of what he's all about, go watch that play. And just put it on repeat over and over. And not even the block, PA, the first block, the second block where he finished, the block and secured the space required for JP to score that touchdown. Watch the reaction of number 18
We discussed it earlier.
I mean,
do you know what he was saying? It's almost like he was looking at the crowd and just like, who says receivers don't block? What? Who says I can't block? What?
But it was, it was, that was, as one of my, Justin's had a lot of them. You think of the last, however many games here that I've gotten the joy of coaching him. He's had, whether it's Buffalo, whether it's, some of the plays he's made, in triple team coverages that was one of my favorites. That was
That's
one
awesome.
of my favorites as far as just a selfless captain of your team showing up in a big moment and doing something different than, ending up with the ball in his hands, doing the gritty in the end zone. It was total team football right there, and great example for not just the Vikings, but a lot of folks out there.
You're awesome. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.